But anybody the way you are.
Good morning and welcome to SLAJ Discovery.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, your name and who are you?
My name is Ahmed Said Nasrallah. I'm the president of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists SLAJ.
Okay, so can you simply tell us why we are here today?
Okay, well, today we are here for the Freedom Walk. There is a symbolic press freedom walk that we decided to do this year to mark World Press Freedom Day. If you recall, you will remember that for the past 50 years, SLAJ has been observing the World Press Freedom Day, fighting for the repeal of the criminal libel law, calling on the government and the authorities to repeal the law. And so in 2020, we had the opportunity of making history by the government and SLAJ and other stakeholders supporting the process for the repeal of the law. And so the 2 years now, last year we celebrated our Golden Jubilee. We had no chance of celebrating the repeal. And so this year now we decided that we would celebrate the repeal with the walk. And then we also remind the authorities that they have a commitment to continue to guarantee freedom of expression and of the press, and also freedom of expression for every citizen, not just journalists. And so we also want to use the occasion to also call on the authorities to make a commitment to protect and promote freedom of expression and of the press. And also we as members of the public and SLAJ, we raise the alarm that the threats that we had during when we had not got the repeal are all emerging again. We are beginning to see the police arresting people who have dissenting views, who are critical of the establishment, and police also arresting journalists as well, harassment and sort of things, and detaining them as well. So these are concerns for we, and that's why we are doing this. This is a symbolic work to not only celebrate, and reflect on the repeal, but to also remind ourselves that the journey for freedom of expression and of the press is a long journey. It's not a one-off battle, and so we'll continue to fight to protect the space we have gained through the repeal and to promote it and expand it.
So a few days back we celebrated the Press Freedom Day, which is celebrated annually to ensure that we raise awareness on issues surrounding journalism and press freedom. And today you are doing this work. So what is actually the impact of this particular press freedom work towards journalism?
Yes, this is exactly what I'm saying. We are aware that we have made progress over the last 3 years in the area of press freedom. If you look at the World Press Index released by RSF, Reporters Without Borders, you will see that we have moved further from 75 to 46 in the scale of 180 countries, and that means we have moved 26 places again. Last year, in 2020, when we had the repeal, the following year we are 10 places up from 85 to 75, and now we are at 46, 29 places we've moved. And so that's a remarkable achievement. And so we are concerned that we should continue to protect that space to ensure that the government and its agencies respect the fundamental rights of every citizen, not just journalists, in the area of free expression and freedom of the press.
So as you do this work today, what will be your message to journalists and also security sectors? Because there has been a lot of problem when it comes to the security apparatus and that of the journalists. And a few months back, you signed an MOU with those sectors. But even though there is an existing MOU, there are still issues within security agencies and that of the journalists. So what will be your message to them as you undergo this particular work?
Okay, well, you see, whilst we are demanding more freedom, the authorities have a way of taking back the freedom that they have given us. They have so many other ways, not just through legislations. And so we are aware about that, and that's why we are doing this symbolic work. And as we do so, we also should be responsible enough to call out our colleagues who are not practicing as professionals, to remind them that freedom goes with responsibility. So whilst we are demanding for more freedom, the public is also demanding for more professionalism and more responsible practice and ethical practice. So we continue to remind our colleagues about that so that they continue to respect the profession. It's a noble profession. Your role is to ensure that you inform the people, you analyze, you provide the platform for people to discuss, and then you do public good journalism. Everything you do should be in the interest of the public and not for any personal or reserved interest. And so the issue with the safety of journalists, we had an MOU with the police and the security sector, all of them. We've signed an MOU, and that's a commitment we've made. And that's the first time it is happening in this country, that we are sitting face to face with the police, especially the security sector, especially the police, to dialogue on issues affecting both institutions. You know, every time we meet, it's like Tom and Jerry. It's a cat and mouse relationship. And so we want that we want to start to begin to address that and ensure that we support one another, we respect our roles, and we understand the role that we play, and we support one another to do that role, to play that role effectively and efficiently. So we will not be there yet, definitely. We will not get there soon because there are going to be challenges, but our resolve is that we are now engaging, we are now dialoguing, and together we will try to address the problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tell us your name and who are you?
My name is Manuel Müller. I'm the ambassador of the European Union.
Okay, today you are joining SLAJ on this particular press freedom walk. So why actually did you decide to join the SLAJ?
For the European Union, press freedom is primordial. You need press, you need independent press, and you need press to be vocal in every country of the world. And we are happy to share this view with our friends in Sierra Leone. And it's very good to see that on the Press Freedom Index there was a considerable improvement during the last year. And we very much welcome that the government has abolished the criminal libel law and therefore also contributed to better press freedom in the country.
Okay, so a few days back again we celebrated the World Press Freedom Day, in which we celebrate every year to ensure that issues surrounding journalists are addressed. So, and we also seen where we've made progress in terms of the Press Freedom Index. So as an ambassador to Sierra Leone, what has been your observation in terms of press freedom in Sierra Leone?
It is very important that press can be independent, because the freedom of expression and the freedom of press, it's nothing which governments in the world give to you, it's a right that you have. And it's the task of government, of civil society, of opposition, of international partners to contribute to the protection of this right. You know probably the French satirical newspaper Le Canard Enchaîné, the chained duck, which is a newspaper which has a very interesting slogan. It says, the freedom of press only can deteriorate if it's not used. So it is, I think, an encouragement to journalists to continue to use press freedom. And it's also an encouragement to governments and to all other actors who are in the public space to give the support to journalists, because journalists have a task to control what is done in a state. Journalists have the task also to look into things which do not work well. Journalists have a task to tell us what is the reality in a certain place. And therefore, we very much are convinced that it is important to give a support to press freedom. As an EU ambassador, I'm very happy to be today here with SLAJ and with you as journalists, also to show that for us it's important to give a support to journalists. And I am very happy to see later then also coming here representatives of the government who also want to show this solidarity.
So what will be your message to journalists as they embark on this particular freedom walk, and also to government institutions in terms of press freedom?
To the journalists, use your press freedom, because as the slogan of the French weekly Le Canard Enchaîné says, that the freedom of press will deteriorate if it's not used. Thank you very much.
So tell us your name and who are you?
My name is Millicent Cabo. I'm the Executive President for Sierra Leone Association of Women in Journalism, SLAJ.
Okay, so there you join the Press Freedom Walk that is being organized by the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists. First of all, what does this mean to you as a journalist?
Well, basically, it means that we've gotten the space for us to do our work as journalists so we can freely disseminate information to the public, which we have taken as a responsibility to enlighten the public on issues that they may not know about. We go to difficult terrains, we go to places, we bring the news, and we put out the news so people will understand. And the media is considered as the fourth estate, so we play that role. And in playing that role, we need the freedom that we need. We should have the freedom so that we are able to publish information and disseminate information without any law, that would try to limit that right.
Okay, there has been a lot of issues in terms of the protection of journalists in the country. And as female journalists, what will be your what has been your observation in terms of the protection of journalists in the country, especially female?
Well, basically, I think it's been difficult for females because that is why we don't have too many women, especially in the print media, serving as editors or having top role in the print media, because women are naturally afraid to take the bold step and they don't want to be in prison. So like we had the 1965 Public Order Act that limits those rights. So you found out that there were women who were afraid to be editors, to be owners of newspapers, because nobody wants to go to jail, nobody wants to go to prison, and women are very careful with the way they do things. So for us, this is good, and we'll continue to encourage women to take leadership roles. We want to see more women owning their own media institutions now. That's what we want to see. In the print media, electronics media, we want to see more women taking up that role. And with this, I think we are on the right track, because SLAJ has been building the capacity of women journalists to see how we take leadership positions within the newsroom, as well as owning our own media institutions in the country.
So before this time, there has been a lot of call by journalists for the repeal of the Part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act, which finally was repealed by this government. So how has this particular repeal created impact towards journalism in the country?
Well, to be honest, I've not seen much difference yet. But I think so far with this new government, we've seen less issues around journalists being arrested and in prison and all of that stuff. So the repeal, I think, is just adding to that. But I think there is the space where people can freely express themselves. But now we have the Cyber Crime Act, that is also there. So once we repeal the Part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act, now we have to deal with the cybercrime law, which also I think we need to review, we need to look at, we need to see how, if this does not contradict what we have repealed in the Public Order Act.
So finally, what will be your message to your colleague journalists as you engage or embark on this particular press freedom work?
So I want to call, if you're home, or I want to encourage more, especially women. I want to see more women here as we do this march today. Let's have more women who we can engage, more women who can come out, because we are also celebrating, this press freedom.